So, greetings everyone. It's a pleasure for us to host this event. We are talking about a very, for a culture which is very dear to our hearts, which is hip hop, a dominant force in the music industry, which, in the words of the great Grandmaster Kez, hip hop didn't invent anything but reinvented everything. So with that in mind, I think we are living in a hip-hop world today, and we are going to talk about it from the perspective of Balkans and how it influenced this region and where it's going. So I'm going to read a nice intro that I got for it, and then we are going to continue the discussion. So hip-hop in the Balkans has evolved from an underground movement of raw expression and resistance to a dominant cultural force shaping music, fashion, and identity. Once a voice for the unheard, addressing social and political realities, has the genre lost its rebellious roots in favor of commercial success? So this is a good question to start, and I'm going to start with one of our guests, which is a pioneer in the hip hop in Balkans, a great DJ, a great vinyl player. We are introducing to you, Mr. DJ Goce.
Thanks, guys.
So tell us, Goce, how do you think? Like, has hip hop lost its initial voice and while gaining commercial success?
Listen, the thing about hip hop being like so involved into Balkan is because like hip hop originated from the ghettos and from the slums of. We are a ghetto of Europe, right?
Yes.
We always felt the same. Like if you go with Albanian passport, with Macedonian passport, everywhere we go. I was on a tour with black guys, and I was the one getting bomb checked, and so we feel this the whole life. Like we're
Underappreciated, yeah.
Yeah, so like the rebellion of hip hop came natural, I think, to everybody on Balkan because like we felt oppressed, not by own countries, but by whole Western society and everything. So kind of like we felt what they were feeling.
Yeah, that's how I feel. And since we recently had the performance of the international star of the game here, and I told him the same, like, man, you don't know about Albania and Balkan culture, but like we are practically the black people of Europe on how they treated us, our history, and how they still continue to treat
Everything,
this
man,
genre.
That's completely like why I think that the hip hop had such a strong impact, like around our countries, because like we felt, especially the hip hop in the 90s, when it was the rebellion and like
Social commentary.
bands like Public Enemy and like we were feeling that shit, like
Like it hit close to home, right?
yeah, completely.
And also, one thing that we see now that hip hop has this great genre, like big numbers in the billboards and Spotify's and everything. But we also see that this type of music also influences culture, influences behavior. It's either for the good or the bad, because we also see like sometimes that the influence also goes for the bad, right? Because
Well, the thing is like because I put my first demo on the radio in 93. I had my first like single in 95. First party in 94. So I lived that moment where hip hop from underground went into mainstream, like end of 90s, beginning of 2000. So of course, man, like even in the first like even in the 80s from the beginning, hip hop had the party side and the knowledge side. So there was always club hip hop, like
yeah, the good comes with the bad and vice versa, right?
there was always like people going pro drugs, pro crime, pro like
Yeah.
because people usually when I say, oh, the trap guys fucked everything up. It was like that from the beginning.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, that's
you have to find your own lane, right? You have the party music. People say everything, but you need to find your lane. But
Yeah.
just it becomes so global
oh, patina.
and so big, nobody could have predicted that, like that the old chart's gonna be hip hop in any form, like.
Yeah, but I also like want to say this before I pass the mic to CD that, for example, we see violence in movies, and we say, oh, it's Hollywood. But when we hear it in music, we say like, oh, yo, you are influencing for bad. When it's just a portrayal of reality sometimes. It's not meaning to influence for bad. And if you see a Hollywood movie with violence, then you see it also with figures. So like, it's more influential than just a song, in my opinion. But sometimes it goes like left. And before I let you continue, I'm introducing Tarifa, who is the pioneer of graffiti culture in Albania. So yeah, you can continue, and then the word will go
Just wanted to
Sidi.
say, like, the violence in the hip hop came from like people who started to talk about it was early as Rakim, Cool G Rap, so it was end of 80s. It's not like
But also, there were like examples to show, like, I mean, if I only have these kind of examples in my life, I cannot show you any other story with any other example. So I have to use these examples to show you my point. So it's also like people that listen to hip hop, they have to listen a little bit better to understand what is being said. It's not like it's not always like literal. Like if you hear gun,
it's
doesn't
like storytelling,
mean always
right?
gun. And, yeah.
You had that in the 70s,
So-
like you had guys like Curtis Mayfield, like Jill Scott Heron,
Like
who were doing like
misinterpreted,
blaxploitation soundtrack for movies. So they were talking the same, like Pusherman, like Superfly.
and
They were
also
talking
like,
about pushing drugs, like killing people, but it was
also, it's not like the technology's fault. It's actually
no,
like
no,
the people
it's
that
like,
use
it's
it.
storytelling, like
so basically, like everybody can find themselves in the
watching a
club
Tarantino
scene,
movie,
in
right?
the knowledge scene, or whatever scene, you know. And but I think like if it can be used for bad and to like miseducate people, it can also be used to educate people. So like the actual hip hop that I think it is like, or the essence is like the art of self-creation. So if I create myself, and you know what I mean, like I'm the authority of my style and my thing, then I can speak with a belief, and you know, because I'm the authority of what I've created, and nobody else can tell me like I cannot do it like that or do it this way or that way. But if you haven't created your style, then you have to follow and find yourself somewhere. You know what I mean? And hip hop, I think, was always like you had to participate, not just like be an outsider looking in. You had to like take part in it. Like hop is to move.
also
you know
the
what I mean?
whole
So you have to-
graffiti scene is based around being illegal and being
Yeah.
a statement done against the system, right?
Yeah, so basically, also what I can say before we introduce our next guest, it's that to me, hip hop is an expression of self and like originality, with its good and its bad. And we are a work in progress as human beings, as character. So I think hip hop is one way to reflect. I call hip hop like the alternative truth, or like the satellite truth. So like it's an alternative way to be truthful and to be true to yourself, because like to be true, you have to be yourself, and vice versa. So I think that's one of the main components of being hip hop. Before you start to polish and to develop your style, I think that's the main core of doing this thing we call hip hop. So without further ado, now we are going to get a perspective from an artist himself, Davide Campana. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Hi, everybody. Sorry for my language, English language, and maybe I have.
I will translate
I need
also
the
for him.
translation.
Yes.
What about
Like your perspective on how hip hop culture has shaped your surroundings, your community, where you come
Okay.
from, and like how did it come for you, like this push to start doing this thing called hip hop? What was the push? Because like we are from Balkans, you are from Italy, like a more developed country. So we want to also to know your perspective of how you got involved in hip hop.
Yes, sure. It's not so different, Italy and Albania, the beginning of hip hop. I started painting in '96.
Okay.
I'm not the pioneer. I have many master over me,
Okay.
like your age guys.
Yeah, so that is one good thing of hip hop, that in our culture we always pay homage to whoever brought it before us. So that's a great element. So we appreciate you for that.
Thank you. Parlo in italiano.
Parla in italiano che io
Faccio
traduco.
parte di due associazioni che guardano sempre una specializzata per i graffiti e un'altra per l'hip hop in generale, le basi, e le origini.
So he is part of two associations. One association that is detailed to graffiti, and the other one is to music and hip hop, right?
Hip hop culture.
Hip hop culture in general.
Yes. And, la prima associazione si chiama Just Art.
Just art.
Just Art.
Okay. Just
Follow
art
on
is,
Instagram. And Hip Opera Foundation, the other one.
Hip Hop Foundation.
Hip Opera Foundation.
Ra Foundation.
Hip Opera.
Hip Opera.
Hip Opera
Hip Opera Foundation. Okay.
And la parola chiave per quanto riguarda l'evoluzione dell'hip hop è questa parola che è nuova, cioè edutainment, cioè education and entertainment.
Okay.
This is the point.
Okay.
That
So
con
the
cui
main
possiamo
point of his association is to entertain, but always also educate. So it's a hybrid between the two of these elements.
organize jam, festival, workshop with kids.
Okay.
And quello che la cosa importante per quello che riguarda le associazioni mie di cui
What is
faccio parte
important for him?
è come l'hip hop in generale, la base dell'hip hop è che dal negativo passi al positivo.
Since from hip hop from negative to go to the positive.
Come qua in Albania, cioè non è
Like-
tanto diversa
like
la
in
storia in
Albania,
Italia.
The story isn't so different.
Lui diceva che era l'Albania è il ghetto europeo, ma l'Italia non è tanto diversa, perlomeno come è iniziata almeno l'hip hop, la cultura hip hop. Comunque noi in Italia è iniziata negli anni 80, più o meno, e c'è venuto Phase 2, writer
Phase
New
two.
York top. Stava a Bologna gli ultimi anni, viveva a Bologna, quindi da lì Bologna,
Sangue misto.
sangue misto, assolutamente. DJ Graph
Okay. This is enough.
will play in my festival in August.
Okay, so DJ Raf, one of the most known DJs in Italy in hip hop scene, has
best
played
one.
has played in his festival.
Yes, last year Ragged Man played.
Are you the Ragged Man?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Strictly for New York, big experience.
Yeah, he's great.
And
He's one of the best hip hop performers in my opinion.
for me too.
Yeah.
Best top 10.
Yeah.
Top 10. It's a machine.
He's a great
live
MC,
machine.
a live machine.
He
He
don't
doesn't
brief,
have like Ari the Ragged Man doesn't have any hype man around him. He does all his back vocals and everything.
And,
himself.
al contrario di quello che sembra Ragged Man, non è un buonissimo, è buono, cioè non è alcol, droga, pistola, no.
Ari the Ragged Man has passed that phase because I remember that in the 90s he was crazier. Like one good thing, like I remember one thing about Ari the Ragged Man because he has a collaboration with Notorious B.I.G.
Whoa.
Yeah, in the 90s, and when Notorious B.I.G. met him, and heard about him, said, "Man, I thought I was the illest." So this is, I think, a great compliment coming from a late great Notorious B.I.G. So, yeah.
Esatto, another time. Comunque il discorso adesso che sentivo prima che dicevate il fatto che comunque l'hip hop è arrivato global, worldwide, dal ghetto, eccetera. Questa cosa ha fatto sì che comunque sono arrivati i soldi.
Sì.
Ma è quello che volevamo.
Yes.
Poi dopo però adesso le conseguenze ce le prendiamo tutte. Cioè
Yes.
in Italia l'hip hop negli anni 90 non c'era il sangue misto, c'era gli assalti frontali.
It was like various but not too much groups. So what we are basically saying is that with the stake of hip hop going global, it comes also consequences, right? But the good message is still there and it's positive. We see like artists like Kendrick Lamar, for example, with his song "All Right," when the police brutality happened and Black Lives Matter movement, people would gather around and would sing the Kendrick Lamar song "We Gonna Be Alright." So I think that is one of the most powerful statements that hip hop culture can be done. But moving on in another subject now, like since we know we are like underfunded, we are countries in development, our economy is not so good. So like what can we do, or like what is now next step going further? What can we do to make for the younger generation, to leave them in a better position that we found the culture? Since I think you also come from a bit of like south part of Italy, where is like we have a lot of common, like Regione Puglia, we have done a lot of projects, so we know we have a lot in common with them. So I think if we leave this discussion here with like some key remarks, or like what can we do to bring the scene closer together and to give some advice to youngins. I'm starting with Goce. Can you pass my team?
Well, I think like we need more education for the young people, especially like I feel like we need more beat makers. Yeah, we have
You have AI today, like
we
it's
have
making
more
mad beats.
MCs than beat makers. We have that problem in Macedonia. I know you have it here also. Like
Everybody wants to be the front man.
yeah, but they need more workshops maybe on beat production.
I think this is the building up the culture. I think will bring more culture. So like my experience with the Western world is like you have different genres have their own like clubs, their own scene, basically, and that's because the culture has been built. So if they have invested in the culture, like they've had associations doing their work, they've had people having courses that taught the young
Not
the
that,
right
I
way
only-
how to do it. So
I also think you need to make beat battles because there are a lot of nerdy kids doing beats that nobody of
Yeah.
us knows about. They're at home and they don't
I
go
was
out.
going to say that.
I
also
was a
about
nerd kid. Listen, I didn't want to go out. I wanted to sit in the studio, listen to records, and
Yeah.
do beats. That was my shit.
You have to
My
find a
comfort
way
zone.
to promote them, like to
Yeah,
bring
if
them out.
if you do beat battles, maybe those guys gonna come out
But-
of the hiding
But, like,
places, you know.
we also forget like there's a lot of elements in hip hop. There's a lot of room to like to teach a lot of things.
The thing we have like a big shortage of in Macedonia is breakdance.
yeah, it's
And
all
I
the
really feel
elements, like
I
you
feel
know,
sorry about that part because breakdancers are my favorite audience, like a DJ. When I play on b-boy battles,
see
I have the
people
best time always. So when I go to fucking Bulgaria, the breakdance scene is crazy. Greece has a crazy breakdance scene, and it stops there. Like this part, Italy has a good.
Yeah, we have to give it up, in my opinion, to Greece and to Athens, because in my opinion, not only just in Balkans, but also in Europe, if we can say, it's the only place where the underground is the mainstream still.
Yes, Noise is killing with his
yeah, DJ
parties
Noise,
and everything.
yeah,
He's my friend
organization.
from back in the days.
But yeah, like I have seen it, and I've also witnessed it from other people that have lived there, that to this day, they're like underground, like a real hip hop with social commentary, and like social problem is on top, and it's more consumed than like the melodic part and trap. So we have
It's
to give
crazy,
it up
but
to-
it's
to
only
Greece.
Athens. Go to Thessaloniki, nothing.
Yeah.
No hip hop events, like not even small
Yeah,
bars.
so it,
All the MCs, good MCs from Thessaloniki moved to Athens.
to
Like,
Athens. So we have to also give it up to the promoters and people who does stuff to get the culture going and promote it, because
hey, you know, Conway record the video in Athens because of the
Yeah.
crazy crowd. Yes.
yeah, Conway the Machine. So yeah, so we have
They
to
sell
give it up.
3,000 tickets for him, like packed out venue.
Yeah, for an
atmosphere.
underground rapper from New York, is crazy numbers.
what I wanted to say, and I really agree with education and entertainment. It's the best thing to put together, and I think the easiest and best way to move it forward is to educate. And
He said edutainment. That
Yeah.
KRS-One put it, edutainment is education through entertainment.
yeah, and it's the best combination. And I think it's the only thing that you don't lose anything if you give it away is knowledge. So it's our duty, like as a older generation, it's our duty to give. Just like we've gotten, and we're thankful for the people before us. Like we should be the ones also like giving as much as we can to the next generation, so they see it correctly and they move correctly.
I understand that if you want to educate someone, you don't learn. You have to do the example. You
Easy
have
to
to
lead
do
by example.
practice. You have to show, so the guys can see you, and not only teach, only talk. In practice.
Not preaching, like, but just giving an example, of course.
Yes, the best way to education
Yes,
kids.
but
Workshop, yeah, workshop. But there is a big problem for me. As a friend of mine, another writer, said to me, graffiti is for boomer. The young kids don't interesting about graffiti, not so much. More street art, but it's not so great.
because we lost in translation, in my
Yes.
opinion, with the internet, the good and the bad that comes with internet. Because before, I'm going to quote DJ Premier on this one when he says that you have to know how to listen to hip hop. It's just some people reciting, some people writing, or someone dancing. That's a story behind it. That's a purpose. There's a meaning behind it. And I think with internet, this thing was lost in translation because before, for an artist to break, it has to go through some stages. The first stage was his local community. So with that, when the local community bigs you up, you have at least some responsibility to give back to that community or towards that community. So they empower you, but at the same time they put you in a position of responsibility. So, but now an artist can break in from his room. Like today you can record a song with just an iPhone.
So it's like
you cannot put it out. So with that being said, some people just listen to a rap song. It might not be from the best artist, but it's one artist that does a regular song, but it hits to somebody, and he says like, "Oh, I want to replicate that," but they don't know like the knowledge on the culture. Like what I say to young artists all the time is like study the culture, study the artists that came before you, because it will be easier for you on the way. So, and with the structure of record labels that has changed, there is no more artist development programs.
But it's also easier to become today. So you can
You
film
have all the
yourself,
tools.
you can make beats at home, you can do everything. In
yes.
our days, we had to and we value things that we go after.
You
and
have the tools, but not the mentoring. And I think mentoring goes a longer way than the tools.
Look, if you want to do something, you can do it even without a mentor. The thing is, you value what you spend time and energy for.
Yeah, but you cannot.
If you do it easy, you don't value it. We valued our thing because it was hard to do it. We couldn't I couldn't even print photos of my graffiti because I would get arrested. The people that printed the photos, they had to tell the cops if there was something illegal on the photos. So to get a magazine, we had to go to a big city to get a magazine to see color combinations or how lines and how.
Yeah, hard times create hard leaders.
And
so that's what I'm saying.
It makes you value what you learn.
Yeah, but that's why I give more importance to the mentoring part, because now is an overflood of tools available, but you lack guidance for younger artists. That's the problem. So
Listen, I think it's good from one side because in the 90s it was really elitistic. It was hard to get a fucking sampler and a turntable to do beats. Now you can do them on your computer, you can record yourself. That is the good part of the technology process, because of course, when it's widely available, there's going to be more trash.
But only you can value that because you know how hard it is to do it by hand.
Yeah.
A person that just goes in,
we
I
had
work
a
with
problem.
AI.
Listen, we were collecting money together with guys from my group. We were kids. So save from here, save from there, rent a studio, and the guy's recording fucking pop music. I turn around, he puts reverb on the snare. I said, cut that shit out. He does that. That's why I did a studio, because I was fed up from the guys where we were renting studios. They didn't get the sound. Imagine in '95, trying to explain them, we wanted raw boom bap shit. I bought the EMU sampler, my first turntable, and these motherfuckers making it sound like a pop music. So nowadays you can skip that part, which is super cool. Of course, there are gonna be kids who gonna try.
You really value technology and how it made things easy if you know how to do it by hand. if you don't know how to do it by hand and the analog way, then when you get the technology and only know technology, you don't value the real work because it's so easy for you now. You know what I mean? Like if you work with AI, like if you know how hard it is to animate something, AI, then you value it for animating and making your work easy. But like if you don't know how to animate by hand and you just learn AI, for example, or something easy with technology, then you don't really value it because you haven't gone through the hard route. You haven't gone through the real process of learning the thing. You just got the technology, you did it. You know what I mean? I understand that democratizing the technology brings art and artists from places that you didn't even expect.
AI is cool, but you can always sense if a guy made the calligraphy by himself.
It's an example. I was trying to say, like, if you know how to do it by hand, technology, you value it because it helps you. But if you don't know how to do it by hand and you just learn the technology way, the easy way, then you don't really value the technology neither, or the thing that
like a DJ, I value the first thing with Serato, when it came out and CDJs, I was able to play my beats because when I put my first album with my group, we put triple vinyl so we can have the instrumentals on the back side. So when we go on a show, I can play the instrumentals on the vinyl.
If you didn't play with Technics before that, then you wouldn't value it
now I can,
so much.
Now you
a
can
person
do the
that just goes
at
into
home
like
before the
Serato, then you know what I mean? Like it would not even like see the value of the Technics or even like know what it did, the history
now
that it did to
like,
bring this thing out.
The thing I like with the AI is like you can make a cappella out of any song. You can take the beat out of any
like
song.
You said, you need beat makers. You can make beats with AI.
Yeah, you
right
can
now,
do some
like,
crazy shit with AI.
yeah. And it's fun, like, but you value it only if you know how to do it by hand. If you spend your time to learn how to make beats and to paint or whatever, then you value how easy this made it. But if you don't know how to do it by hand, then you learn the new way of doing it.
You're gonna learn it
on
the hard
then
way.
You don't value that. That's what I'm saying. Like, if a person wants to learn, they have to value what they're learning. That's when they will learn.
The AI, in my opinion, brought us to a new era, from the creator era to director era. Now, like, you can do, like, basically you can do a movie yourself. You can do a song. You can do a remix. You can do a mashup album. Like, the possibilities now are endless, and you can also capitalize out of that. So now I think there are no more excuses. Tool-wise, you can have access to everything.
This can make it look easy from the outside. Like somebody can come in and say, "Oh, this is easy to do," because you see the technology part and you don't know the hard work that it has took on people to get to that point. So like that's what I'm saying. If you know how to do it by hand, the analog way, then you really value technology and then you really can use it for doing something like positive. But if you just go into technology and you got your hands dirty,
I mean, even in this level of technological progress, I can still, when I listen to a hip-hop beat, I know if it's made on computer or if it's made on an MPC-60 or SP-1200. I know the machine by ear.
Yeah, but that's like a professional ear.
No, they cannot.
Like, not every ear can do that.
They cannot replicate analog gear.
Of course.
I totally agree about what you said. I want to say the main point is the born of internet. Internet is level, ha appiattito tutti i sensi. Per quanto about graffiti, when you painted a train and you was there, you feel the smell, the cold, every sense. When you watch on internet,
you only see it.
You many skills.
It's colder.
Very, very great artist, but is only a page and lost every sense. And so è tutto più piatto.
I totally agree with you that the internet has changed a lot, but in my opinion, internet also saved hip-hop. Yes. But this will be a discussion for another time, since our time was up, and it was great to share a stage with such passionate guys. And so we have room for another time to do another discussion on this. Thank you very much for your time and your presence. And this thing will be online. And I think we'll have to see it back and to do something bigger next time. Thank you also to the audience. I hope you liked everything. You are welcome to next things.